Welcome to another episode of Brewed Awakening. We are catching up after a long time, but I guess we've missed these conversations, so we made sure that we do this today. My name is Poonam. I'm a certified conscious parenting coach. I think we should stop introducing ourselves. Our audience already knows us.
I think so.
Just for one last time. And we are here to discuss conscious parenting.
Yes. Hi, everybody. And I'm Anna. I'm also a conscious parenting coach, a doula, and a prenatal educator. And yes, I think we should stop introducing and just get to the cards. I'll shuffle while
Hi,
Poppy
everyone.
introduces herself.
And for the one last time. I'm Fatima, and I'm also a conscious parenting coach and a Montessori educator. And conscious parenting is what brought us together. So,
All right.
see what we have
today. Unconditional acceptance is the foundation of a conscious parent-child relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that again, please?
Unconditional acceptance is the foundation of a conscious parent-child relationship. So I think unconditional anything is really hard to grasp, right? So how do we start to look at this word unconditional? How can we, I guess, manage it? How can we start to grasp it and look at it? Because we understand it as something that has no condition. So fully acceptance, right? Of what the child is or what the child did. And we know that we as coaches work with the filters that come to condition, whether it's acceptance or love, for our children. So how do we start to get a grasp on this unconditional acceptance?
So first of all, I think we need to be the observers of our own thought process and our own actions and reactions. Because when my children were growing up, I wasn't even aware that my love had conditions. So I was unaware of my unconsciousness. I think that's where we start. Because for me to recognize that there are conditions, it took me years. So can we first start discussing how do our conditions show up in our parent-child relationship? So what kind of conditions do we see when we coach our clients? And they are not even aware of it. Like we are not aware of it because we are not aware that we've been driven by our conditioned subconscious that makes us do things that we just think we love our children. And we do love our children. I'm not saying we don't. But how we show our love and how we navigate the form world around that love puts a lot of conditions. Like simple things like if you want me to start, like when my kids were growing up, I was more worried about how other people are perceiving my children and their relationship with me. So like when I insinuated, not knowingly, that they have to behave in a certain way for the acceptance of the outside, in a way, my children were getting a message that I am not happy when they don't behave in a certain way. So that was the first condition that I put on my love, like not knowingly. I thought I was loving them.
Yeah, because
sad.
we're conditioned ourselves to condition, right? And then that
Yeah.
makes us be in denial or
Mhm.
unaware of the depth and the layers of
Yeah.
all of it. What comes to mind for me is also a need for us to learn to communicate better and to accept that our children's experience doesn't have to do with us, basically, right? It's a little bit hard to grasp. Like our
Mhm.
children's experience is our children's experience, and how we perceive it can be one of two ways. We can perceive it through our own experience, or we can get curious and ask and accept what their experience is. So it makes me think of just this week, I had a client and the mom came with my client in a session, and my teenage client lost her dad. He passed away. And so she was saying, he abandoned me. And the mom was saying, no, he didn't. He really wanted to live. He fought to live. And so just looking at that perspective, I can see how the mom understood the reality of what the dad was going through. And it was truth that the dad had fought to live and he didn't want to abandon the children. But the daughter felt abandoned, right? And the mom was telling her, no, he didn't abandon you. So that negated her feelings. So we deconstructed a little bit and we said, what she's trying to say is that she feels abandoned. And that is her truth. And it doesn't matter if the dad didn't want to, because she does feel, because he's gone, right? So we can start to hold all of this together. And to me, that's what unconditional acceptance is, where we can sit with all of the experiences, all of the feelings, and not have to, overpower, overtake, or exclude. These things are not mutually exclusive. They're
Yeah.
actually all truth. And I think that's the hardest thing for us to grasp, because we weren't conditioned to look at life like that.
Yeah. And as parents, we think it's our responsibility to look after them, which it is. But I think it's more of our responsibility for their basic needs, like food, shelter, emotional experiences. But it's not our responsibility to change their experiences, but just to have the nurturing, supporting environment where they can feel what they're feeling.
Yeah, what came to mind for me, what I like the way Poonam said, the first thing is to create the awareness. And I think that's the most important thing, is you can only make change when we are aware that something needs to change. If we live unconsciously, it's impossible to see these parts of us as well. So creating the awareness would be one. Awareness, I think also awareness of everything's inside us and not external is the big one. And also we have to, unconditional acceptance would mean that we have to also accept everything as it is. So accepting the isness of the present moment, but also we can, once we're aware of our patterns, our conditioning, then we can accept our patterns. We can accept it for how it is showing up. Then we can make the change. Also, what came to mind for me was, do we accept ourselves? Because we can only accept another once we accept ourselves.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, right? Because of our conditioning, we have to create a sense of, to accept unconditionally accept our child, we have to create an environment for them to thrive and feel accepted. So like in many circumstances, like many kids struggle because they're unsure if they will burden their parent with their feelings, or their parent might feel overwhelmed by it. So I think it's important for us to know that we have to make our child feel safe. So I think to use words such as like to tell your child there's not a single thing that we can't figure out together. To tell your child that they can create an environment where they can tell you anything and you'll always be a safe place for them. No matter what, right? It can be scary, weird, awkward for them, or it can be awkward conversations for us, but then we have to sit with that discomfort. So I think to say to them that what is mentionable is manageable. Well, we name it to tame it.
Mhm.
And if our kids know that we can handle the big stuff, and then they would not have to try to want to handle it by themselves or alone. Therefore, they can show up and then we can accept them unconditionally, right? Because now we leave our expectations and our agendas inside the house. We leave them there. And then the child is there who now feels supported. And no matter what they're feeling, we acknowledge their feelings and whatever it is that they're doing. We witness them for who it is they are. We accept that by leaving our expectations, our agendas out inside. And that's when when you observe, you'll notice that's when your kids find their magic, right? Is when they're actually feeling supported. When you give them that, saying that I accept you for who it is you are now. It's almost as if you're allowing them to fly. It sounds like spread your wings and,
Yeah.
By normalizing all of these experiences and feelings. But it's so true. If we don't have our own internal process of normalizing and acceptance, it's impossible to do it for others, including our kids, with all
And
the love
sometimes
that we feel for them.
Yeah, sometimes the conditions are because we are fearful, because we want to protect them. So it's not always like we are putting conditions without a basis for it. Just today, I met with a parent of a teenager who has moved to a new school, and they don't like the school. And the parent had kind of a feeling, oh, it's a new school, they'll take some time to kind of figure out what they're doing and find some friends. They're feeling lonely because they're in a new school and all of that. But the child, I was so amazed at the capacity of the child. The child came and beautifully articulated that they feel lonely. They don't think that they belong in a school environment, and they think they should be homeschooled. And the mom said, well, I'm working full time. I can't support you in homeschooling. And then they were like, no. These days there's a curriculum and there are online teachers who can teach you. You don't need to do anything. And she brought out emails that she had been writing to people. She did all the research. So she came with solutions. And then the parent came to me and they were like, I was very surprised. I'm very proud of them, but I am fearful. Am I doing the right thing? And I said, look at your child. What do you think that school can give her in addition to academics? Because the child knows how to navigate the world. Do you think this child will fail in this world? Do you think what she's done to figure out a solution, do you think a school could teach that? And isn't that a skill that she will take with her into the big wide world? And when I said that, the penny dropped. And she was like, oh my God, I couldn't even see it. And then she was like, yes, she is wonderful and she can do it. She has that discipline. And if I organize everything and all of that. And I said, all you need to do is just sit and support her and just say, I understand you don't feel you belong there. And it must be so hard for you to go to school every day and not have friends to talk to. I said, just give her that space to feel those feelings and just support her. And
Mhm.
it is like, that's the unconditional love that you give to your child.
And the
You
courage
know,
to trust in them, right? And
trust
and
in
it's,
them. And
I think parents go to like this forever absolute mindset that gives you so much panic, right? But you can think of it as temporarily, like, let's try it out. Let's try this next school year. We can start with this homeschooling program. And if it doesn't work, we always have a choice to go back or try something new.
yeah.
Yeah.
And even whilst she's figuring out this homeschooling program, she can tell her daughter, just go to school and just try to have fun whilst we are figuring it out. You never know, in the next couple of months, whilst you're figuring it out, she might make new friends. But at
Mhm.
least she will feel heard and validated. And we are
Yeah.
not clouding her judgment. We are accepting that she's an individual, and in her own right, she can make decisions about her own life without us projecting our fear
Yeah.
and
And
without us
recognized for
putting
her
conditions.
brilliance,
Yeah.
right? Like, we forget to recognize our kids for the times where they really step out and do some amazing things. And then they are left with like, okay, well, I always try and nobody ever sees.
So
So
maybe I
that's
shouldn't do
very
it.
important. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just imagine coming from a 13-year-old. She had
Wow.
all the answers. And then the mom said, what about the social aspect? Like, you'll be lonely, you'll be sitting at home. She says, no, 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 I've thought that I'll pick up a job.
Oh,
So I go out and
Oh,
meet people.
yeah.
She had answers for everything.
she thought it through. Wow, she had
Yeah.
a plan.
Like, it wasn't just a superfluous thought. She thought
Yeah.
about all the pros, and she had written pros and cons on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
13-year-old.
Wow. Exceptional. Look at that. The message is right there on Fati's t-shirt. I just saw that word. And it truly is exceptional. Like, this is what we
Yeah.
want our kids to achieve in life, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
sometimes they do it and we can't even see it. So
No.
this is why we do this. This is a Brewed Awakening.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And
we
that's
need
what,
to keep cultivating this awareness and way of looking at our kids.
True.
Mhm.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.